Welcome to the 1878 FM podcast. That is episode 20. We are once again bushless. He's just given us a message, which was a late one, late decision, failed the fitness test, that he's got to go and get his train to go to work or something. So he says. He's just panicking under the pressure. He's flapping under the pressure. He is firmly in the Big Sam camp, getting Big Sam back, I'm sure. But we are joined, as always, by our ever-present Mr. Vitty. There he is.
You say that, but actually now might be the right time for me to put in a leave application because I can't do the 7th. I know I'm giving you good notice.
We've got a lot of notice there.
I can't do Tuesday the 7th only because I have a prior commitment.
That is fine.
To go to Sheffield and I will be on the road all day. So
you
will have to miss me for the first one actually this season.
Maybe we'll move it for you, Dave. Maybe we'll go to the Wednesday just for you or something.
Do you know, I mean, if you don't mind, that would make me feel special.
Well, that's what would happen. We're not gonna. First of all, we don't know whether Bush should turn up, and then it'll just be like a normal day for me and Pet talking to each other. So yeah, but ultimately we would, of course, we'd move it. So let's get that out the way. Out the way. Dave, obviously, we chatted last week. On this last week, we did kind of hint that this week we might be having this conversation.
Yeah.
Given Everton's terrible form, Everton lost again at the weekend in what was a big game.
It feels so long ago.
It does feel years ago already. But that has resulted in Frank Lampard losing his job, and the rest of his coaches have gone as well. Which is quite handy because they'd all booked Monday off anyway to stay down in London, so they didn't have to come back to Vince Farm. So what are your initial thoughts, Dave, on the manager losing his job? Right decision?
I think it was inevitable, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've said on this all the way through the season that I didn't want to see Lampard go. I like what he's about. And I also don't agree with chopping and changing managers because I just think it's counterproductive. And, now we're looking for our 6th manager in 5 years and look where we are. So it's not the way to go about things, but I think that we got to a point where something had to be done. And even I had to hold my hands up and say a change needs to happen. But now the worry is who it is, who sees us out for the rest of the season, who has the unenviable job of trying to steer us clear of what looks like an almost inevitable relegation. I mean, it's going to be a relegation scrap at best, but we must be odds-on favourites for going down, I think, at the moment. So it's who that is, and obviously the names that have been mentioned thus far: Dyche, Rooney, Bielsa. I mean, I quite like Bielsa as a footballing character, but I'm not sure that this is the right move for him. I really don't, or rather, this is the right fit for us at the moment. I just think that I don't think he's a quick fix kind of guy.
No.
This is a proper roll your sleeves up situation. I would put Nuno in the same category as him as well. By the way, I mean, I know different manager and a different style, but it concerns me with managers who don't get Everton Football Club.
Okay.
Potentially. And I would put Nuno and Bielsa into that category. Although, the thing is that if Mashiri's already spoken to Bielsa about the job, then surely that would put him, as one of the favourites. I don't know. What are your thoughts? What you're thinking in terms of the shortlist? Who do you think are the best or least bad options?
I think I do tend to agree with you over Bielsa. I think he's 67 for a start. I think this is a job. I think for him going into a club, I think if he's gonna go in, he would need to go in pre-season to get any of his ideas across that he wants to do. I think he needed, maybe the right time to get him, if you were really considering him, would have probably been the World Cup break. If only there was a 6-week break in the season.
Definitely, yeah.
I mean, that would have been an ideal time to make this kind of change while there was, I mean, that would have been ideal.
That would have been a little bit more sensible. So I think I tend to agree with you. He's a very interesting football man, but is he right? I don't think we've got the players, but you know, that's by the by. I think coming in the midst of what is a relegation battle, there's no question about it. It's a real tough one. I think the others, Dyche, I can understand why people want Sean Dyche, but he's not, for me, he's not a guarantee that you stay up. Allardyce has been mentioned again. Rooney, I think the thing with Wayne Rooney is he's a young coach, and he's worked in real difficult circumstances at Derby, so he's got that. He knows what Everton about, Evertonian. There's other people, you know, people have seen Duncan Ferguson. Would he be good for a short term? People will always come back to experience. Then you've got people like Dominic Tedesco, who's been a really good manager, and had lots of experiences already, and he's only 37 in Germany. He's someone who Everton could maybe get. There's others, and Villas-Boas. There's managers out there. The problem I have, Dave, is I honestly couldn't. There isn't one I look at fully and go, he would sort us. You know, I'm intrigued by what Rooney would be like, getting a culture, but I understand everyone's concerns there. Tedesco, like you said, are these kind of managers going to get Everton? Does it matter if they get Everton? I don't know. I mean, Ped, where are you at with it?
I think one of the things I find interesting about the whole thing is the idea of time and how long it takes to set up a team for a particular manager. And I just wonder, you mentioned something like Dominic Tedesco or something like that, or a Bielsa. You know, they have a different kind of style, obviously, from a Sean Dyche and a Sam Allardyce. Does Allardyce or a Sean Dyche style of play take quicker to implement than what they want? Probably. You know, these are professional footballers who've got all day on the training pitch. How long does it actually take to start the implication, you know, putting it down, nailing it down, what you want to do? That's what I find interesting, because what Allardyce does and what Sean Dyche does to a degree is still quite technical, just in a more, maybe more in a, what we see more in a basic way. We see it but as a defender, you still got to do a lot of concentrating, and as a player who plays further forward, you have to get back into certain positions, and you have to stay really disciplined in your role, and that obviously takes time, working on set pieces, that kind of thing, which obviously we know Allardyce and people like Sean Dyche are really big on. So does that take any longer to implement than a Bielsa style? And that's what I find interesting. I know the Bielsa one is really, I don't think we've got the players to do what Bielsa wants to do, but then again, you don't know, do you? You don't know till you've actually tested them. You know, who knows? A player, something might be unlocked within them. They might be playing one style with Frank Lampard, or trying to play a style. I don't know what that style was. And then another manager comes in and locks them, and suddenly a poor player becomes a decent player, and you know, vice versa. So that to me is the conundrum. But again, this is supposed to be a thing where the director of football is supposed to have laid down this identity of way of playing, way of moving forward. And I suppose Everton are, again, between a rock and a hard place, because what are they trying to do? Are they trying to nail down an identity and move forward that, or are they just trying to simply survive? And it's finding the best fit. And that's for the director of football to understand, I think. And if he understands it, then that's where we can move forward. But if it's left to the owner and the chairman, then what's the point?
I think one of the things, Dave, you just said, their shortlist, but I know a lot of names are put out there, and people put names out there, don't they? And it's not always accurate. You know, journalists will throw all things out. And when you look at that shortlist, even that lurches from one type of manager to a different one. So, you know, you would hope that while we have implemented a director of football into the club, that he, like Pez just said, he'll agreed an identity, and then surely he would look for coaches, head coaches, managers, whatever you want to call them, who fit into that identity.
Well, listen, I tell you what, I'm going to make it easier for all of us, and I'm going to cut down this shortlist, because what I think we need at the moment is not necessarily the long-term option. I don't think at this moment in time we're looking for the manager who's going to lead us into the new stadium. I mean, listen, in reality, that will probably be 3 or 4 away, you know, in terms of like how we operate. Yeah. But I think we need somebody for right now. Okay. and that isn't necessarily the same person for next season. Because if we do pull off the miraculous and we do have another Crystal Palace moment, we somehow manage to survive this season, and therefore all of our worries have gone away, a bit like they were last season, or so we thought in May, right? Is that if that does happen, then we can think about what the long-term thing is. So here's my thinking in terms of that, is that it has to be, and I don't think this is being romantic. I think this is being practical, because this has to be a roll your sleeves up situation. This has to be somebody, this has to be fire and guts that's actually going to keep us up this season. Nothing more, nothing less, right? Pretty football is not going to keep us up. We don't have the players to do that. This needs to be an absolute, every game has got to be a cup final. Every game has got to be an absolute battle. And for that reason, the next manager to see us out for the rest of the season has to be somebody associated with the club. Therefore, it has to be either one of these or combinations of Duncan Ferguson, Rooney, Moyes, Tim Cahill. Any combination of those people in that mix. It has to be somebody that understands what the club is about, and somebody. You see, here's my thing with Bielsa. Like, I know that it's perhaps an old-fashioned way of doing things, but we're in a hairdryer situation here at the moment. We need to have somebody who's actually going to bollock them when they're 2 and 3 down and they haven't been pulling their finger out. How can you be scared about going in at half-time when you know that your bollocking is going to have to go through an interpreter? You know what I mean? Like, he can rant and rave all he likes in Spanish, but then the guy's going to translate it. It doesn't really have the same effect, does it? You know, and by the time he sort of said that, the teacup flying across the room is not even in the same time as the bollocking. So I think it has to be somebody who understands what this means to the fans and understands the whole makeup of the club. So I think we have to have an Evertonian to see us out, and then we think about it again.
Okay. I mean, it's interesting. I think you said something yesterday, Pat, and it probably is what we need as well, though. And even if it is, you know, this is more long term, but I think it's long and short. Is that we need a coach. Whoever comes in has got to make our players better. Everton. I looked this morning. I hadn't looked at the league table since I don't know, Saturday when we were bottom. I think at about 3:30 or whatever it was, 4 o'clock. And yet we're 1 win off 14th. We're 3 points off Leicester, who are 14th. Yeah. So it's not. I know it feels like it's over, it's finished, it's done, but it's far from it. And there's a lot of games left. And I understand people would turn around and go, "We looked at." I get it. I absolutely get it. We were terrible. There were 2 terrible football teams on the pitch on Saturday, Everton and West Ham. They were dreadful. They took the chances when they came along. So Everton, it isn't like a hopeless task to keep us up, but it is something that someone needs to understand where we are, and the work needs to begin immediately, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think the problem is you know, the amount of games we've lost to teams around us. That's the problem, isn't it? It's that we've been beaten by a lot of dross, and there doesn't seem to have been a realisation of what's been going on, and I think that's what, you know, Dave's alluding to there with bringing in someone who understands the culture of the football club. I think there has to be. The problem I've got, and I fully understand what you're saying, Dave, is I don't know whether footballers respond to that kind of thing anymore. I don't know whether they would get it. I don't know whether there's enough good people in the dressing room to understand the implications of all
Alan
this.
Stubbs did call for this yesterday, though.
I'm not disagreeing with.
You've got to grab.
Yeah, you've got to grab it. And I think, I mean, in terms of the people that could enforce is perhaps the wrong word, but
is it though? Is it though, Dave? Because you're right what you're saying, and I totally agree with you. And we were talking about this last week. Me and Baz on. I can't even remember where we were talking about it. But that line of succession for Everton people through the club is run dry. You know, we were talking about the centre backs and how we always had this prominent line of centre backs who understood, and it sort of died with Michael Keane. And listen, I know we got Tarkowski and Conor Cody this season, and they were doing well for a period, and then it looks like that's all stopped. They've both hit the buffers a little bit. But you're right, there has to be people who enforce that, and whether they're Evertonians or whether they've just got really good standards. I don't know. I think you're right, though. I think there has to be people amongst the coaching staff who get it, who understand the culture of Everton Football Club. And I know that, you know, people often snigger at like Duncan Ferguson and the fact that he was at the club with all these managers. but he was massively frustrated that he couldn't get across his passion and desire and love and where Everton Football Club should be. And I know that was a big frustration to him. And I think that's a big frustration to a lot of people at the football club, is that the types of players Everton bring in, they just don't seem to get it. They just don't seem to understand. And, we saw with Richarlison last season, he gets it. He got it, Richarlison. He understood. He understood what it took and what you had to do. And it's so evident this season that we are lacking a player like Richarlison who goes beyond what is needed. When you think about it, if Richarlison just run around and put the ball in the back of the net and stuff, people will go, oh, he's done well. But he done more than that. He went above and beyond. He tracked back. He run through brick walls. He'd get injured and get himself strapped up and would get on with it. That's what Everton can just lack. And again, it goes back to recruitment. It goes back to that idea what David Moyes was talking about recently of, before you sign someone, get them in a room and look in the whites of their eyes and have a conversation with them, see if they've actually got the stuff to be an Everton player. I think we've lost that. And I know people go, that's not real, and we've got mates who are bang into the data and all this kind of thing, and they'll tell you none of that matters. But surely it does matter in any day and age, in any football team, having players who actually want to win games and are prepared to do the extra little bit to win games. Because the irony is that's what City have got. That's what Arsenal seem to have at the moment. That's what Liverpool have had for the last few years. It's those players that you look at and they go, they're really good. But they're more than that. They'll run
from the coach, though.
They'll run through a brick wall, and they are coached. This is something we spoke about.
But it comes from their coach.
Our players, right, for the last 12 months are not better. They're not improved, and I put that down to Frank Lampard and his team. And that's, if there was any reason to sack him, that was the reason. None of these players are better. People can go, well, look at Iwobi. So what? He's had a few good games, but there's no real consistency there. And they're all like that, aren't they? So get us some good coaches in for a start. And maybe when you're out, again, someone like Rooney, all right, he's young, but he could be a figurehead if you could get really good coaches around him. And I think that's the top and bottom of the situation. And it is about creating that culture again of like, do they need to be Evertonians? Well, maybe not, because that's a tall ask now, because there aren't that many, and obviously, Dave's mentioned a few there. But just get people who I've got a certain something about them, and I've got maybe a track record. Maybe there's a buzz. Maybe there's a buzz out there saying this fella is an amazing coach. You need him in your setup. Go look for those kind of people and add those people Dave's mentioned to there. Just add them into the mix.
I think, yeah. Go on, Dave.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, I don't disagree with you. I just think that there's two different jobs though. I think there's a right now job, and then there's a going forward job.
I don't think there's a going forward job, Dave. While these people run this football club, okay. I don't think there's a going forward, because I just think that's a dead end. But I do understand what you're saying.
Do you know what I'm trying?
Yeah.
And I tell you exactly what I'm trying to get at. And I think that the Leeds game last Feb summed it all up. The 3-0. That's exactly what we need at the moment. That was a proper roll your sleeves up, blood and thunder performance, and that. And only that, I think, is going to be our saviour this season, because we're not going to be playing pretty football, and we're not going to be suddenly bringing in great players. I mean, Christ, what is it? The 24th of January at the moment as we record, so we've got less than a week left to go, and there's nothing on the horizon seemingly other than is the Danjuma loan deal all sorted?
Well, we haven't announced it, have they? I mean,
I've read that
spent the weekend at the football club.
It's all done, isn't it? But
for whatever reason,
it's not done.
But I think that we I keep saying it. We have to make it into a cup. We have to make every game into a cup tie.
Yeah.
And that's what I see. But which manager is best equipped to do that with what we've got? I mean, that's why again, people will say, right, well, Duncan can't attract the players necessarily. He doesn't have that international sort of footballing pedigree that will attract the best players. We ain't getting the best players at the moment anyway. This is about actually getting the most out of what we've got. And I tell you what, in terms of somebody who could convey with literal precision the thoughts of the Gladys Street into the dressing room, and I'm talking about doing that from an inch away from their nose.
Yeah.
Duncan would be the best person to do that for me.
See, I wonder if, obviously Allardyce has been mentioned again, and I know that'll send shivers down everyone's spine. I wonder if would he take it again, but for literally like 4 months' work, because then that does play into what you're saying, Dave. It is that there's a job for now. There's a job for now.
He charges a fortune for it, though. I mean, isn't
because he would bring? I imagine he would bring Duncan back in till the end of the season.
Yeah.
Because that's like a way of. I'm not advocating for this, by the way. I'm just looking at it and going, if Everton are, and we listen, we never know what Everton will do. Maybe Kevin Thelwell, because you would have thought this has been going a little bit pear-shaped since before the World Cup. After the World Cup, it's got worse and worse. Anyone with any kind of plan would have gone, lads, this doesn't look like this is going to turn. So who's available? Who might be interested?
This is the problem, isn't it? I mean, ultimately, this is the problem, isn't it? This is not new. We've won one game in like 13, 14 matches, whatever it is, and they're sitting here and they're deciding what they want now. And if this doesn't tell you exactly what's wrong with the football club, I don't know what does. There's going to be a massive charm offensive in the next few days. They're going to be pulling all the mates out the media to back them up and start putting the blame on us and telling. I've seen it already. To be positive, stop being against the ball, blah blah blah. You need to rally behind the team and all that. People can do both. People can back the team and do the other thing, but ultimately, This should have been sorted. Yesterday was just a farce. 3 o'clock it gets announced that he's sacked because clearly his side have leaked it out to the media. So, and then at 8:15, the Everton make an announcement that he's been sacked. And I'm watching Sky Sports. I'm watching Monday Night Football, and they've done a whole segment on it. And at the very end, they mentioned that Everton still hadn't confirmed he'd been sacked. And Gary Neville was like, "What? Why are we even talking about it then?" And he went, "Well, he is sacked, but they haven't confirmed it." And Gary Neville just said, "That tells you in a nutshell what's wrong with that football club. Disorganised." And that's the word, isn't it? Disorganised. The manager got sacked yesterday, and really today, Everton should have an announcement. Everton should really already know who's the manager. It should have been sorted. No, but it should.
No, I agree.
On the FA, when we played Manchester United in the FA Cup, that was the weekend to get a new manager. Maybe not bring them in, but that was the weekend to go out and source the manager, because it wasn't getting any better, was it? We wasn't. I know we've had a couple of games since, but even then, we're old enough to remember when Mike Walker came in. Mike Walker's best spell as Everton manager was actually the 3 games before he got sacked. I think he won one and drew a couple, but the clubs were committed to sacking him because he was terrible. And let's be honest, Frank Lampard has been terrible.
Walker took 4 points out of 6 the last 2 games.
I think he got 5, didn't he?
Oh, did we have another nil?
I think he got 5, out of his last 4
games.
I
know he beat West Ham and we 0-0 at Norwich.
No, but what I'm saying is they were committed to getting, I think Everton, when the Man United, literally from the Man United game, that whole weekend should have been committed to getting rid of Frank Lampard, because his record is atrocious. I know people like him, but his record's embarrassing for anyone. It's embarrassing, that record. Like, I honestly think you could put Ned in charge and he would have got a couple more wins. He overthought the whole thing for me, Frank Lampard, at times, and that's where they should have been. And this week we should already have a manager sacked on the Monday. New fella comes in on the Tuesday. No messing about, because most clubs in the Premier League would have, because most clubs understand you cannot allow this time to just drag on. We did this 12 months ago. 12 months ago,
exactly,
and we're back in the same place.
Yeah, exactly the
and what
same.
does that tell you about the football club? And people can say whatever they want. They can come out with the charm offensive. They can say anything they want. The facts are on the table. It's there. We've seen it before, and it's happening again.
No,
are you texting Jim White?
I'm texting White now, saying what's going on. Getting Sherry on to this call instead of Bush.
Yeah.
Hello, Dave. I just think for me,
I got no Bush.
listen, it is a mess, and hopefully
Remember when this podcast was fun?
It is. We're going fun in a
Bring
minute.
the fun back,
The fun's
Baz.
coming back now because this is
Have
just
you
the
got some
press.
fun lined up for us, Baz?
Well, you're going to start because we just like grilling you first.
Pardon?
okay, fine.
Grilling. Not
Oh,
spit.
sorry. I thought you...
That's Bush. That's Bush, but we haven't got Bush. What's he doing tonight? Spit roast? No, what's he doing?
What?
What's he doing? Oh, yeah.
What?
He's
Turkey
air frying
roast?
his corn, beef,
Hey,
whatever.
come on. You can't
He's
say
air-
spit roast on here.
I didn't
As
say
much
that.
as it would liven up the podcast, you're taking us in a weird direction with
You
like
are.
canal boats
It
and now
is.
spit roasting.
It's all going on. It's all going off. Anyway, the Everton thing will run, I'm sure, and we'll deal with more of it next week. Obviously, there's no game this weekend either, which is tremendous for us. A weekend of no Everton is always
Everton.
the best weekend. Well, get back to the World Cup. Bring a World Cup out every 6 weeks. Let's do it. So there you go. Let's leave the Everton chat because it is quite depressing, really, isn't it? It is quite.
There's no answers. Well, I mean, we've given as best we can in terms of what
I
we
think
at
so.
the minute, and ultimately, whatever we think or whatever logic would potentially suggest could be completely at odds to actually what happens.
Of course.
So let's just see where we end up. See who the manager is by episode 21.
Do we think we'll have a manager by next week? When we record our next pod?
I think they will.
I'm not convinced.
I'm saying he will. I am saying he will. A few days before
Hello,
Arsenal.
Roberto.
Hello, man. They've gone and paid 100 million to get him out of his Portugal contract.
Portugal contract now.
No, I think they will. I think they'll have one by then, or it'll be like he's got the. I mean, they won't have announced it because we had the player at Finch Farm at the weekend who still hasn't been announced. So yeah, we'll know who he is. But
Get
he
your
probably won't
Bielsa buckets now. Get your Bielsa buckets.
be. Everyone's staring at the floor in the match.
Yeah.
Mind you, I normally do that, so it'll be
I
all right.
do, to be fair.
It'll be absolutely fine. What have you been getting up to then, Dave? I've seen you've been. Were you running over the weekend? Or was it biking? I'd seen you were out biking, weren't you? I saw that.
Biking. I went on a 20-mile bike ride on Saturday in the sunshine. That was very nice.
Nice.
I'm considering a run tomorrow. Although the weather looks shit tomorrow.
Having
so
a think.
That might get
I always
raved.
do that. That's the best form of exercise.
Considering it
thinking,
is tremendous.
No, I am considering because I've got a morning. I mean, without boring you too much with
Go
my
on.
daily routine, I've got a morning off the school run tomorrow because my daughter's staying with her mum. So
Okay.
I can either go tomorrow, but I've checked the report and the forecast is not promising. So I'm thinking about maybe Thursday instead might be the day to do it. And in terms of, I know you were very you were captivated and fascinated and all of the other atids about the fact that I was recording with Peter Andre this week.
Yeah, let's dig into that.
Not as glamorous this week. I've just done a podcast with Michael Duff, the Barnsley manager, formerly of Burnley, obviously under Sean Dyche. And then tomorrow interviewing Dwight Gale off of Stoke City.
Ooh.
See, Dave, I mean, you're just fully immersed in EFL. See, if Everton do go down,
Yeah, we've got an in.
we've got an absolute, not only an in, but we've got an expert.
I was just thinking then I would love to hear a podcast with Michael Duff and Andy Bush, the Bush and Duff podcast. I don't know why. It's just coming to my head, Bush and Duff podcast.
Gale and
Duff.
Bush, I was thinking of.
yeah.
Gale Bush. No, Bush and Gale. That'd be a good one.
Bush and Gale.
Dwight Gale talks to Andy Bush about air frying corned beef toasties or something. I think there'd be a big scope for that.
I do, yeah.
I think
Listen,
there'd be a big...
the fact that Bush is absent once again.
Yeah, okay.
Incidentally, by the way, should we just go off on a little tangent?
Go on,
because
go on.
we've never done what we said we were going to do.
No.
In terms of the fact that, if you recall, he was going to be brought to account about his unauthorized absences week upon week upon week, and his seeming disregard for the integrity of this podcast. And we were going to sit him down and actually go for him big time. Now, he managed to get out of that for reasons that I can't fully recall. So maybe
He just didn't turn up.
maybe in terms of our Everton manager conversational avoidance, we need to get back onto his tail.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. What Bush has done the equivalent of is no comment, hasn't he? No comments. Whenever we've tried to pin him down to something, he's just given us I'm on the train, lads. I've got to get in because Richie needs me to mop his brow or something.
Or
while he make a toasty or cover for some fella because he's having a holiday when he shouldn't be. Well, I mean, he should be. Fella can take holidays whenever he wants, but you know what I mean. He shouldn't be clashing with our recording. So we're gonna we've got to pin him down, the Bush. Get him pinned down to a time, and then we'll start off nicely. You know, well, I say nicely, it'll be about Everton, so it won't be nicely.
Lull him in. False sense of security.
Lull him in.
That's what it's all about.
And then
make him
bang.
feel comfortable, and then bang,
Straight
absolutely, then just hit him.
Yeah,
hard.
not
I think
let
the
him.
Bush is bit off more than he can chew, and again, that is a great name for a podcast.
I mean, Bush bites off more than he can chew. I mean, it could work.
I think
It
so.
could work.
I think so.
It's like Bush with teeth, isn't it?
Exactly.
He's always made excuses though. I remember when we were thinking up this podcast, and it was pre like Zoom, and we were like, how are we gonna do this? How are we gonna put this thing together? And even though he works on a radio station, he's got all that equipment in front of him. And he was making excuses then, and he's now making excuses. You know, you've got a real job. Oh, okay. Well,
you've been told you've got to go into work.
Interviewing Barbara Streisand, are you? Oh, you know.
Listen, I mean, unless we just stop fanning around now and we actually get him on now and just tell him
On a train.
Just bear with me.
Is he on a train or is he?
He said he's on a train, going to the office. What office? He works in the radio.
They have.
I mean, he doesn't work in a radio. He's not climbing into a radio.
Hang on. Here we go.
Ringing him.
This is live. Oh, imagine a secretary picks the phone up.
He's got a secretary.
Imagine he was though. Imagine he did.
I mean,
because he didn't really work on a radio station, and he worked for an insurance firm.
Dave Franks.
Hi, this is Andy's phone. Leave a message.
Do you know what's weird? You'd think his answer machine would have a radio voice, and it didn't. He was like, "Oh, it's Andy Bush." Is that how he really talks? Oh, it's Andy Bush.
You know what? I'm not having that.
I reckon he.
I'm doing it again.
I reckon he works on the Coconut Shire in Southend
on
Sea Fair.
He could well be.
But get your butt in spade. I don't know if that's how people talk down there, but
no.
You see, he's sitting there looking at his phone, isn't he? He's doing that thing, kind of thinking,
He's
I'll just pretend to be.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Andy.
Oh, it's Andy Bush here.
Andy Bush.
Andy Bush. I'm currently with
anything
Richie, and we're air frying some mackerel, you slag.
Fair enough. It's a bit harsh.
That's another good name for a podcast, air frying mackerel.
You slag.
You slag.
I don't know whether you could put the you slag on. I mean, why not?
Maybe you could, like, for a sort of late night version.
You could do. You could do.
You know?
Well, he has. I mean, we've had a live call to Steve Guttenberg that never got answered, and we've had two to Andy Bush.
Yeah, this is
Do I phone
I
Wayne
reckon-
Rooney right now?
I was going to say,
I was going to phone Dunk, but
this
not
could
after
be,
you.
Don't be ringing Dunk.
No.
He's
Leave
got
Duncan
it
alone
in for
after
me.
you.
Dunk.
Got it in.
Maybe that's what we do. I mean, new feature where Dave just randomly rings someone.
Just goes through. He starts and we go stop, and he just
yeah.
has to ring it, whoever
But
it is.
you know, I mean, there is a good game that I used to like to play on the radio. and
Okay.
it was called How Many Simons? But I mean, you can actually put it in with anything. So the idea is it's a little bit like Top Trumps. We can try it now. If you like, you know,
Go on.
We start with Simons, and then you can move on to anything else.
How many Dions have you got on your phone?
Just the one.
Just the one,
Right.
fair
But how many Simons?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
So have a look at your phone now.
Okay.
Right? With this is something that everybody can play at home.
Yeah,
Unless
okay.
you're driving or operating heavy machinery.
That wouldn't be good, yeah.
Feel free to actually do this. Right. So.
Okay.
Let's have a look.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I can update you at any time you want. See, the problem with Simons is, are we going? It's sorted in. It's the surnames, doesn't it?
Right. I've got 4 Simons. Right.
Okay.
But one of them, three of them have got surnames.
Yeah.
One of them's just Simon.
Yeah.
I've no idea who that is.
Okay.
Because to be fair, only one of these I actually know, and the other two I don't really know.
Yeah.
I don't know why they. I think their names might have been like put in via like Facebook or something.
Okay. Yeah, because I've got one, and he's Simon Bondar. I've no idea who that is.
Simon Bondar.
Bondar, Bondar. So if you are Simon Bondar,
no, I know that name.
Okay, I don't know.
Who's that? A patron, isn't he? Yeah, he's a patron. Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah.
why he's in my
Simon
phone? I
Bondar.
don't know.
Bondar.
And
Right.
I've got a Simon Harris. I've got 3. 3 I've got.
Okay. Well, I don't want to sound like a show off. I've got 21.
21 Simons. Behave yourself.
I've got 21 Simons in my phone. Okay. So, but it's fine. Go on, pick another name. Baz, you pick a name. Let's keep going. Incidentally, by the way, Bush has just texted me back.
Yeah.
Saying this is great. By the way,
Go on.
He won't realise that this is a total setup and an ambush. Ambush. Right. He said, "Call you in 5. Sorry, I missed your call. No problem. I'm going to put no problem. Mate.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Please
let
make
him
sure you
ring
do
it, and we'll do the phone call live on
that
this.
is-
Yeah. No problem, mate. Give me a quick call. It's
you can.
important.
It's important.
Sorry, Dave. You've just invented the greatest Channel 5 program ever. It's called
How many
Ambush.
Simons?
Ambush.
It's called Ambush.
Yeah.
Right. It's where the Bushmeister.
Just go.
It's like a Jeremy Beadle style program.
Okay. Does he go around and
He
just
goes
have people
around
off?
and like has people off,
And then he
goes,
just goes,
"You've been ambushed."
It could be a good one, that. He just jumps out.
Just
Ambush.
jumps out, and then they go,
Yeah,
"Who are you?
Who are you?
Who are you?"
I haven't seen you on any Talking
you?
Heads programs.
You look like
That
that.
could just be his catchphrase, couldn't it?
Yeah,
He could just
that's
sneak
it.
up on people and just go ambush, and then we
That-
could get it made into T-shirts and
so
all
good
sorts.
because it
you
works
know.
on so many
We're
levels.
gonna need
'Cause
some-
he literally is Bush. So if he shouts
Ambush,
ambush,
he's not
they
lying.
all go,
Yeah.
"Well, are you?" And I go, "I've
Yeah.
just told
I've just
you,
told
tit."
you. Ambush.
Yeah,
I mean, he
yeah.
doesn't have to use the tip, does he?
No, and also, but that's another good T-shirt idea, Pat. I like that because on the back, you've got I'm Bush, and then on the back you just go, I just told you tit. I like that. It's good.
In the cursive writing on the back,
Yeah.
so it's
I
not
just told
fully
you-
offensive.
I just
straight off.
told you tit. That's good.
You know
Right.
what?
I need another name off you.
I'm going Andrew or Andy.
Andrew's a good
Well,
one.
already we've got the Bush, haven't we?
I just feel like this podcast is turning into a
hang
meeting
on.
from radio back in Radio
It
1.
is back in the
When
radio
are
days.
Are we counting Andy's or not?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you've got it on you.
yeah. Go on, count
Well, then
Andy's.
that's going to be a different list.
Yeah,
though,
it
isn't
is.
Oh,
a
it
different
is,
list,
yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, so no, Andrew's only, I think.
Okay.
Well, I don't.
Okay.
Okay.
See, my top 3 Andys are quite good.
Yeah, mine are quite.
But I can't say them out. They've all got very pivotal roles in my career. But
Okay.
I've got a number.
Okay.
5.
Sorry, is this Andrew or Andy?
Andrews.
Oh, I've only got.
We can do Andy's next if you want. I think
Okay,
I've got
yeah.
more of them.
I've got 2 Andrews.
I've got one Andrew and someone whose name's Andrew, but it's down as his nickname.
Okay.
Is that a grey area?
Well, I've got 2 Andrews. A Gray, but Andy Gray, because he is in, man. I've got 2 Andrews.
Clang!
Clang. Well, that's what we're playing, aren't we?
All right.
Yeah, you see, mine, I've got one who's Andrew,
Yeah.
someone, and someone who's someone Andrew.
Oh.
So Steve Andrew.
Oh, Steve Andrew.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
People who were 2 first. I know, I've got loads in my phone book.
I don't know
I must
who's-
ring about 3 people. I've rung about 3 people. That's 14 years.
Yeah, I'm not going to ring him just in case he's not someone who wants to speak to me.
Andy's I'm better on.
Go on then, how many? Andy's. Oh, I'm well better than Andy's.
Oh, go on, now, will you go first, Baz?
All right, I've
Do
got
as-
1,
do-
2,
do as your Andy's.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Andy's. That's decent for me.
Ped.
Andy is... I think I've got 5. Hang on. Yeah, I've got 5, but 3 of them are 4 of them are really good.
Okay.
Okay, we'll get this.
Go on.
33.
Why? Why have you got 33 people
You've
called
got more
Andy?
Andy's than probably I've
Well,
got
I don't.
contacts. Why?
33.
Why have you-
33 Andy's.
That's incredible. 33.
I don't
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
33.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest with you. But the same as you. I've got no idea who half of them are.
Yeah, it is mad, isn't it? I don't really want to phone them and just go, "Who are you?" Because
Maybe we should. Maybe this would be a way. This is perhaps for another episode. And by the way, if anybody is listening and thinks that we have completely run out of things to talk about and are just basically killing time until we can actually realistically wrap this up in about 10 minutes, you are so mistaken.
No.
You
this
are.
is completely planned.
This is all
It's
planned.
not just bollocks. For another time, maybe we should actually use this as an opportunity to have a bit of a purge in terms of our contacts.
I think
and
so.
actually go through. And if we don't know who they are, then we just delete them.
That makes sense.
But isn't that like?
I mean,
a
I've
case
got
of
one called Ben Pringle in my phone. Who's Ben Pringle?
No idea.
Ben Pringle.
Yeah, I don't even know who
I've
he
got
is.
one and it just says FIFA.
Maybe you've just got the number to FIFA. Or it's either the game or the
I've
organisation.
just got
You've gone full. You've got Sepp Blatter's number in you.
Do you know what I always find good though?
Go on.
That if you have got someone, the best thing to do is go onto WhatsApp and then you can sort of, if you go
marry it up a bit.
you can go on WhatsApp and you can just have a little check on their thing and see, and that's what I'm going to do right now.
That's what I do as well, because you can see if they're still valid or not, or whether there's somebody who used to be a friend that you kind of didn't know since 1997.
FIFA is, I'll tell you who FIFA is. FIFA is, we used to get stuff off, they used to send us like promotional stuff from a company, and read the games every year when they came out, and we got a few bits off them, and I just put the person's name down as FIFA.
I mean,
now how have you got that fella? Is that as real? Is he there? Go on WhatsApp.
yeah, I don't think so. That's from a while ago.
Is he? Yeah.
Oh.
Don't ring him.
Did you know? Don't ring.
I literally just
Don't ring him, because he'll
rang.
go, all right, Mike,
All
want
right,
to see a
Mike, do you
watch?
want to watch? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why he's in my phone.
I mean, listen, the in terms of like a live program meeting, the obvious way to really, make a proper finale of this would be that if we get Bush to ring back in the next 5 minutes.
That would be amazing if Bush
Don't you
sings
think?
back.
Because then I think it would feel almost as if this was going somewhere.
Well, it is. That it is. What have you been watching, Dave? I'll tell you what. I'm watching Happy Valley at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's interesting you say that.
Go on.
Because I have never seen Happy Valley,
Me
but I
neither.
have noticed a lot of people on Facebook of late saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm sorry, I'm 9 years late, but actually Happy Valley is brilliant." And actually, I was talking to my mum the other day, who also testifies that Happy Valley is indeed brilliant. And I
It's
need to go back to the beginning
Tremendous.
and watch the whole thing from the start, which is one of my next things on my list.
Okay.
I haven't got a program at the minute.
Right. Well, it is. That's a great way to start. iPlayer. There's only 3 series, the third and final series, and it's that
How
thing.
many are they? Six.
Six,
Or eight,
six.
Okay.
Right,
that's doable.
and it's that thing that it's only on once a week.
Yeah.
So because it finishes, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to watch that. I keep going on the iPlayer, thinking they might have dropped the last. They leave it once a week. So it's tremendous. Sarah Lancashire's absolutely brilliant in it, but it's very gritty, and it's really good. Honestly, when we watched Happy Valley, I was thinking, oh my, what's this, like Sunshine Farming program or something? One of them, and it set in Yorkshire. But it's absolutely brilliant. So it's worth.
Sounds like
worth
it's set in a massage parlour.
Fair play. Fair play. Nice spa, yeah. There's no happy endings in it. That's the sad thing. But no, watch it, Dave. Honestly, it's really good. Like you said, 6 episodes in the series, only 3 seasons.
What are they? Hour long?
Yeah.
Okay.
Really good.
That's doable. You can do a series in a weekend.
Oh yeah. And it is quite gripping. It's James Norton's in it. He's really good. Sarah Lancashire.
I'll have a look, see, because
good.
last night I watched 2 episodes of Kirsty and Phil's Love It or List It, and I thought I really need to get another thing.
Yeah, you need to get something to get your teeth into, really. What are you?
I was surprised at the end when they did decide to list it, because normally, if the wife wants to stay, they normally stay.
They do. As always.
You can normally put a decent wager on down at the beginning. Like if the wife doesn't want to move, you kind of think they're going nowhere.
Do you know what?
Can I just ask you a question?
Hang on. I mean, first of all, Dave's now being accompanied by Sam Allardyce on the picture, which is fine. Sam Allardyce has just been... You see, what you really should have done there, Ned, was had Allardyce on the couch behind Dave, not just by his leg. But
you mean like proper CGI stuff?
Yeah, he's there. He's
like
to
Avatar.
he's to your right, Dave. If you go like that, Dave, you'll be patting Sam on the head.
That's it.
Down a little bit. Down, bit
down.
more.
Pat.
That's it. There's Sam.
Hang on. That's a very.
Hang on, Dave. Dave, stay there. Keep pat.
No.
No,
There's
keep
a very
pat.
camp pat.
This doesn't work. It's a podcast.
I'm going to send it so we can see what he's patting.
This is a podcast.
Does it look a bit like an emu?
It looks a bit like...
You need to grab your arm with your other arm, Dave, and start...
Fair play, Dave. I'll send you that in a minute. What was I going to say then?
I don't know.
Oh, you've took it from me.
Yeah. No, I never... Sam Allardyce took it from all of
Sam,
us.
what was he doing, Allardyce, there?
I was just going to say, has anyone ever watched... Holiday, what's it called? House in the Sun. Has anyone ever bought a house? Has anyone ever bought a house?
You've literally just reached in. I was going to say, why did you rob it from me? You've, like Everton have took me joy. You've took that bloody thing out my head.
What,
that place in the sun. They go over there well, yeah, we've got a budget of 500 grand, and the woman or the man, whoever it is now, decides they've picked out the greatest properties in Spain, Costa del, Britain, and all that. They go and show them all, and they go, love this. This is amazing. This is amazing. Then they meet her later on. They have they meet at a nice location. They have a drink. What do you think? Oh yeah, it was great. Blah blah. We want to put an offer in. They do the black phone call. My clients are going to offer this, and then it comes on and goes. 8 months they decided not to go through with. You're going.
The worst ones when they go to Australia. They go to Australia.
Oh, that's the worst.
And it's never sunny when they go. It looks like England, but with a beach.
Yeah. That's all it is, yeah.
The one where they have to do the stay or go thing.
Yeah. They spin it. That's
of course. They're kids.
Full spin.
Their 3 kids always say no. Always.
Well, you would.
And they let them decide their future of their lives. You absolute tit. And then they sit, but then the other thing is to go, and we got here, and we're working out. Jill is a care assistant. At home, she earns £17,000 a year, but the cost of living is blah, blah, blah. In Australia, she'll earn blah, blah, blah. There's no fucking chance she can live in Australia.
Boys.
Oh, boys.
Hello, mate.
Hey, Dave, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Andy, you might be live on the podcast.
Really?
It's the only way to get him.
Hold on a second. What's going on?
Well, you see, the thing is, I'll be honest with you. Today we've been talking largely about the vacant manager position, and that got depressing after about 7 or 8 minutes. So then we've sort of been freestyling since then. And so because we missed you, and we thought that it might be nice to have you on. I said, well, wouldn't it be great if we could get Bush on before we conclude this recording, and it will sort of act as a finale. So essentially, how are you?
Well, Dave, what a lovely call, and it's very nice for you guys to check in with me. I'm good. I'm currently sat at a train station. I'm very excited about the potential next new chapter for Everton, and I'm all good. I'm all good. Thank you very much.
It's an ambush.
It is an ambush.
Oh yeah. That's. Can you hear them okay or not, or do you want me to translate?
I translate. I can't hear them at all.
Okay, sure.
It's not quite nice actually.
Yeah. Fine. Well, what I was saying is the fact that we have come up with a new TV idea for you. Which, I'm happy to run past your agent, potentially, but it's called I'm Bush, right?
No, I'm Bush!
Well, yeah, but I'm Bush. But so the idea is that you then jump out and surprise people and then kind of go, I'm Bush.
That's my name, you tit.
And yeah, that's my name, you tit, is what your follow-on catchphrase is going to be.
Dave, don't you think in terms of the entertainment industry, particularly radio, probably we don't need that? It's been a tough few years, do you know what I mean? So maybe
Channel 5. Channel 5.
Fine. Well, listen, I tell you what, Andy, we'll put that down as a maybe.
Yeah.
Before I let you go for your train, can I just ask you what your early thoughts are, just to bring this all looping back to something which is vaguely relevant? What are your thoughts in terms of the shortlisted names for the next potential Everton job? Do you have anybody that you would prefer over the others?
100% Bielsa. I want to see him sat on a bucket whilst Dwight McNeil is bayoneting bags of grain.
Okay, interesting.
That's an interesting take.
You'd be going for Bielsa. So
100%.
Okay. All right.
What do you just out of interest, what were you not thinking?
Well, personally, I think that it needs to be somebody till the end of the season, maybe like a Duncan Ferguson and Rooney kind of situation, with then a longer-term prospect from when we're safe. But listen, we can talk about this. Are you on next week?
Hopefully,
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
That's good.
All right, well,
Thank you for the idea. Thank you for the jumping out the bush idea. I'll definitely
Okay,
I'll think about it.
Andy Bush, thank you very much, and have a pleasant onward day.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Thanks.
See you, Andy. Cheers, mate. I mean, Dave, that was a tremendous phone call. I love the way Dave just started off nice. He's kept that lovely, Annie. If you get that phone call from Dave there, Bush is sat there in a train station now.
That's the best thing.
Is happy, isn't he? He's sat there now thinking, "Oh, that was a nice phone call. That was a nice phone call."
Andy Bush has just communicated with the WhatsApp group as a whole, and it just says a word that is not
It reads,
"What does stort mean?"
That's my name, you tit.
fair play
the
to him.
catchphrase for the
He's joined
ages.
in. He's joined in,
Yeah.
and that's what I've got massive respect. But when Dave sets it up like
That
that,
was beautiful.
that is a
You can
beautiful
tell
thing.
Dave's had years of
years of experience.
years of ringing up, celebrities on the radio saying,
Do you know what it is? It's years of actually. It's kind of what we call killing time sometimes. It's when you don't really have a proper structure. You have to think of something else that will actually. No. And by the way, I meant that from all of us.
Yeah.
And I said, wouldn't it be nice if we had a lovely finale and a happy ending, if you will, to this podcast by actually having Bush on at the end, and he came through and he gave us what we wanted, and we can now kind of all lie back and feel satisfied.
Exactly.
I feel like I've had a happy valley.
the Bush with the happy valley at the end. It's all very.
That's my
good.
name, you tit.
I mean, you could see that someone. That is definitely a catchphrase that you could see, like smashy and
But it'd be
nicey
boss
saying
if
it.
it was like he jumped out and went, "It's an ambush," and they went, "It's Bush," and he just went, "That's my name, you tit."
I mean, what I would say, Page has just appeared from nowhere. What I would say is he was taking the idea to radio, and he said that's not really good.
This is why he's still stuck.
Yeah,
doing 14 shifts a day for absolute jizz. That's his fee.
Bush in the gym.
That's his fee.
It is. But if Dave was trying to say, I think the one thing, Dave, where you might have missed your boat, you missed your trick there was, did you say for Channel 5?
Yeah.
Because if you, that's the caveat to any idea.
Yeah.
If you put Channel 5 in it,
Yeah.
all of a sudden it becomes
Jane
an
McDonald
opportunity.
on a big boat.
You know that Jane McDonald on a big boat?
Yeah.
You know the way she goes, like, it's Jane
Yeah.
McDonald's goes around
Big
Egypt,
boat.
right?
Yeah.
Why she she's almost like Judith Chalmers, isn't
Yeah.
she? She's going,
Yeah, but she then has to sing.
but then she sings at the end,
know.
and she's singing with
Come
people.
fly with me, come fly away.
Like, exactly
I
like
don't know why
that.
she's singing that on a boat.
But that's what she sings. That's a bit weird because she's trying to tell you the value for money in this.
I don't know, but maybe that's part of
But
the
that's
package.
that's what it
I
is.
like the little Scottish one who goes in the camper van around in it. She's much better.
Is she?
Yeah, what's her name?
That one, yeah.
That one,
That
yeah.
well-known one.
I also like Dingo off EastEnders doing motorhomes as well. He likes what's his name?
Who?
Alfie Moon.
Who's Alfie Moon? Oh, Shane Ritchie.
Yeah, Shane Ritchie.
He does
Is he doing
motorhomes.
motorhomes?
He does motorhomes.
Is this Channel 5?
See,
See, so what's Bush on about?
course it is.
You can literally get any. If
Not
you
anything.
caveat Channel
It's-
5 underneath anything, it's a show.
They just have two buckets. One with a celebrity in,
Yeah.
and one with like some kind of
idea.
travel idea in. So it'll be,
So
I
hang
don't
on,
know.
but
The next
what-
one will be like, I don't know. It'll be Lenny Henry does hovercrafts. Do you know?
So
I'd watch that.
I would watch that. Because hovercrafts, I don't feel like you see them anymore.
No.
And there was a time years ago
do you know-
when they were a big thing.
Do you know Lenny Henry is in the literally multi-billion costing new Lord of the Rings show on Amazon?
It wouldn't surprise
It was
me.
a
'cause
shock
he's
to
got
me.
into
It was a
acting,
shock
he's
to
done
me.
well. He's done well.
He's done well for himself
He has.
since he's become a sir, and he does Premier
Fair
Bets
play.
or whatever.
But
You know.
just going back to the ambush idea, just because you've now brought travel and
Yeah.
the show.
Sure.
There's no travel in that, so how would we? What bucket would that like?
There'd
What,
be a different bucket.
so
They
there is
have
a
many
third
buckets
bucket.
at Channel
Well,
5.
you only named two.
They got bought out by MTV.
You named two.
Okay.
Two buckets. Who would be the CEO? Bielsa. He loves sitting on a bucket, doesn't he? Loves it.
We've gone full
We've
circle.
gone full circle.
And with that,
Let's leave it there. No,
that's
Dave.
my name, you tit.
It's a great idea. We've just got to come up with Dave Fitz, you know.
I just think if you make the name of the show first and then retrofit what actually happens, I think that's much better.
Dave Vitty phones people.
You need something that what you mean that like rhymes with my name or
Well,
something.
not really.
I mean,
do we?
Dave Vitty looking for the.
You see,
Vitty McLean.
Listen,
Go on.
Vitty McLean. No, I always thought that actually, if I ever owned a strip bar or something.
Oh yeah,
Vitty's
Vitty's
City
titties.
would be
I
good.
mean,
But I don't, and I have no plans
No.
to. So essentially, that.
but
name-
that would have been the perfect. Should we gather bevy and then I tell you what? Should we just go?
Let's go to
Should we go
Vitty's
to
Titty
Vitty's
City.
titties?
Yeah.
You know, and have a dance.
That's my bar, you tit.
And on that note,
As Andy Bush jumps out, ambush
out.
in Vitty's Titty Bar. On that note, we are going. Dave, lovely to chat with you as always.
Partners in the bar.
Are the partners in it?
No, they're partners.
Vitty's Bush ambushes, yeah.
Butch galore.
Would you have Bush in a titty bar?
well, I don't know. But I mean, you could also have Bush Gardens, couldn't you?
You could have what? Sorry.
Bush Gardens.
You could have. I mean, I've been to Bush Gardens many times. Tremendous place.
So.
Tremendous place.
In the dam.
In the no, not in the dam. It'd be no Bush Gardens in the dam. Right, Dave. Lovely to speak to you. We will see you next week. Take care. Thanks very much for watching, listening. See you after. Bye bye.
Oh my God.